T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What's up, everybody? It's fucking Sunday. Welcome to Movies and Beyond. We are fucking jumping off the hook today because it is convention week and we are pumped up for Horror Hound. I hope everybody's as excited as we are. With me, as always, is Mad Matt from Mad Matt's Mask. What is up, brother?
Michael, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. It is Sunday. We're here to talk about horror. Tell me what you guys want to talk about, what's going on now. And I'm, as always, stoked to be here, brother. Good to see you, my friend.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you.
It's good to see you too, man.
Good to see you, buddy. Yeah,
that's what it is. That's what it is this week. It's convention week, man. And it's just like, I never get excited until we are days away. And at this point, we are days away. We are not weeks away. We are days away. I am super excited this week.
Yeah, and you actually, yeah, man, you excited. You got me excited because, I know it takes I feel like it takes a little bit more for you to get excited about these cons than it does maybe because you've like seen a little bit more, been around a little bit more. But when you came in, man, and you said just flat out, dude, I'm getting excited. That took my intensity up a notch, man. Because I mean, who doesn't want to go with somebody that's amped up to do things, man? So the fact that you're excited, it gets me that much more excited. It's the first time Mad Matt's Mask is vending at a horror convention. I couldn't be more thrilled. I got Mad Mom just going bananas.
Yeah.
I mean, literally bananas, man. She's we got some killer stuff coming there. And yeah, man, I'm ready to rock and roll, dude. On cloud nine about it. So yeah.
It seems like with me, and I'm very, outside of Movies and Beyond, I'm a relatively quiet person, but it seems like once convention time hits, it's just like, regardless of who the guests are, like you could have a lineup that I'm not excited about. It's more about like the atmosphere, you know what I mean? The atmosphere that kind of like brings me into my own. I know that I'm going somewhere with tons of like-minded people, man, and it just gets me amped up. Shit, man, some of the best horror conversations I have had in my life have been standing in line to meet somebody.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I still consider myself a newbie to all this. My first convention was 2021, man. So, but there is absolutely nothing like it, bro. You're going to a place where everyone loves what you love. Yeah, and you're in line for Nick Castle. I just want to look over to the guy next to me like, dude, what are you getting signed? And that can just spin a whole freaking conversation of like, how he got into, when he first watched Halloween or, whatever it is. But dude, damn it, there's nothing like it.
I can't wait, man.
Nothing like it, man.
I cannot wait. So, Horror Hounds this week, and then we're just, again, what? 2 months away from Scarefest after that. You know, we got September.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're 2 months from Scarefest. As soon as this one's over, you know, we're on a countdown to Scarefest, which will be less than 2 months at that. Well, right around 2 months at that point, and it's just, man, dude, it's this time of year. It's almost fall. You know, it's August. You know, we got about another month and a half, and then we've got, you know, the leaves are gonna start changing colors, man. And then, you know, people like us are gonna feel like we're really in our element because that's the time of year where we get all the stuff that we want. You know, that's when all the cool stuff comes out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man.
It's
I
just
wish fall could be 8 months.
right.
Halloween could be a week. Like, God, dude. Like, yeah, I absolutely love it, man. Everything about it. The weather change, the changing of the leaves, the, you know, picking out your costume, going back in your head of the costumes you picked out as a kid, and nothing tops fall, man. As far as I'm concerned, like, love it.
Yeah, dude. Like it's just,
Love it.
I don't know. It was just something about it was probably Friday for me because I knew I was a week out from Horror Hound, and it was just like, all right, man. Now you can get excited. You know, now it's time to get excited. Now we're, and I mean, I'm even sitting here today, like, well, when the show's over, I'm probably gonna go to sleep. I got a few things to do tomorrow. Next thing you know, it's Thursday, bro, and it's time to go. You know what I mean? It's
Right,
gonna come
right,
quick. And you
right.
got some time off this week, so you got a little more freedom for yourself
I
as
do,
well.
and I was just loading up the vehicles. I was loading up. You know, we're like I said, we're going to be vending there, and this is our first time. Uh, you know, for Mad Matt's Mask to be actually vending at a horror convention, and we are going full throttle, man.
Yeah.
We're bringing everything we have, all the top notch stuff. We're loading up friends, family members' vehicles. And for me, when you know, just yesterday we were loading up some vehicles, and I was like, dude, I feel like a kid in a candy store. I feel like I'm going on a you know, not just a vacation, but you know, a vacation that is strictly what I love, a freaking horror vacation, dude. What is better than that? Like, what is better than you know? So I'm stoked, man. I'm amped. I'm amped up, man. Um, I can't wait, man. And Michael, you'll be there. A lot of the guys and gals from the chat will be there. You know,
Yeah.
Jared, Jeff. I'm not sure if Polar was able to come, but I sure hope so. And if not, maybe they can catch the next one. But it's gonna be killer, man. It's gonna be absolutely killer.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean the next one being Scarefest. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And the
yeah,
amount of people that are
yeah,
making that trip
yeah,
from everywhere. Like,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Val's coming, and this is Val from Val's Views first convention to go to, and she picked
Nice,
Scarefest 15-year anniversary. Are you serious right now?
nice. Do not forget to come say hello to me, Val. Do not forget to come say hello to me. That is awesome. Yeah, and to pick Scarefest is sick in general, but this is like this Scarefest this year. They're even like they're topping themselves, man.
Yeah.
Like, dude, they they need more than 3 days, man. Like, God. Their roster of talent there is sick.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. But yeah, like you got to pick, man. That's where you got to like make that list, like who you really want to see, who you can do without,
Right.
because 3 days does not give you enough time to see everybody you would want at Scarefest. Like it's stupid.
Well, not to mention too, you know, especially Saturday night. Friday night, not so much, but Saturday night, you have all the after parties with all the costumes, and you know, it's just
Right.
Saturday is a long day. You know, it's a
Right.
long, great day. Don't get me wrong, but it is a very long day because you get up, you get there. Let's say you get there at 10. Let's say you have VIP, you get in early, you get there at 10. You know, the after parties start at 9 at night and go till 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, it can be a very long day, but it's one of those days that I always push my, you know, tiredness aside. And I'm just like, you know what? This experience is going to be so freaking awesome. You're going to hang in there like a trooper and we're going to have a good time. You know what I mean? That's how I always feel about that. But let me go ahead and say what's up to everyone in the chat. But before I do, I want to say what's up to my Patreon people. Let me and Matt go ahead and get these masks off while we say what is up to everyone in Patreon and show my appreciation for them. We'll be back in just a second. All right, let's see who we got in the chat because the chat has been going for a while. God, I can't even scroll up through all of it. You guys are awesome.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I did. Wow. Okay. I will just try to run through this really quick here, but I do want to throw this up. Jacob's in the chat saying, who will win in a fight, Michael or Jason? I asked this question before. I want to see if y'all's answers have changed. It can be any version of Jason or Michael. I would like to what do you think about that, Matt? What do you think about that question? That's kind of tough, and I think it's a little unfair.
It's a question that I actually hate to answer, but Jason.
Well, let's make it. I think so too, but let's make it more fair.
Michael fan.
Yeah. Let's
time. Go ahead.
Let's make it a little more fair. And I've always said the best fight to me would be remake Jason versus remake Michael. So you're looking at Derek Mears, you're looking at Tyler Mane, right? So I feel like that would probably be the fairest. I mean,
but to answer his question,
yeah,
he's going across the board. You know what I mean? So
I mean, you could automatically go to Uber or Savini Jason and just say it's over without any argument whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like
but yeah, because because I really tried to listen to his question. You know, there are certain Michaels I would pit against, you know, Jason, but for the most part, man, and this is, dude, I am non-biased. I'm a Jason. I'm sorry, I'm a Michael fan. I'm a Jason fan, but I choose Michael. But I gotta side with Jason on this one, man.
The one thing that always comes to my mind is when
I feel like my opinion seals the deal in this one. Like, you know,
that's what it is.
Yeah, this is what it is. I'm not usually that way.
The one thing that sticks in my mind is when CJ Graham just pulled that guy's heart out at the beginning of 6. You know, and that was when he just came back to life. So when you start to think about Jason from part 7 and stuff like that, it's just like, dude, as much as I love Michael, and believe me, I love Michael. You know, I just don't see, you know, with Michael, it's always been a question. You've always towed that line, or is he supernatural? Is he not supernatural? You know, Carpenter did a very good job of towing that line to say, you know, he could be, he might not be, you know, and then you were Jason, once you get past, you know, chapter 4, you know, 5 doesn't count because of Roy, but once you get into 6, Jason is supernatural at that point. 100%, you know, struck by lightning, zombie Jason comes up out of the grave, ripping hearts out with, you know, his hand just going through a chest. And I don't really think that that's a fair comparison for the strongest of Michaels to say, hey, you know, like he might be able, it's just not a fair fight. I don't think, but
yeah.
In all honesty, you know, it's not saying, oh, I like this person better than this person. You know, it's just based off of what you see.
And there's a lot of good matchups there. Like, you know, there's a lot of great matchups, you know, to be made. But when you go across the board,
yeah,
Jason's just been too brutal, too strong. You know, and we didn't see Michael take on a whole lot of people at once, really, until Kills.
Right.
You know, you can argue 6, you know, where he goes to the hospital and, you know, massacres however many doctors are in there. But, you know, you're talking about doctors.
Surgeons. Doctors.
You know, but Jason, his brutality started right off the rip, if you ask me. So that's why I lean towards Jason.
His whole shtick is being brutal. You know what I mean? And being that's what it is. Let's see who we got here. Jerry Wilson's in the chat saying, hello, everyone. I hope everyone is well. What is up, Jerry?
Jerry, I am very well, man, and I hope you're well as well. And great to have you on here always, buddy. Always.
Lydia's in the chat saying, Heidi ho, officers. That's become her signature hello.
I dig it. I dig it. Hello, Lydia. Good to have you on here, and thanks for all the work you do.
Yeah, another one of my mods. And she's doing very, very well as a mod, too. Let's see, trying to get through everyone. Russell Dorsey is in the chat saying, what's up, everyone? I smashed that like button before I came in this awesome stream in chat. Happy Sunday, everyone. What is up, Russell? Happy Sunday, buddy.
As much as Russell smashed that button, I'm surprised there's a button left. Like, if only everyone else could smash that the way Russell does, you know?
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Dude, Russell, man, I look forward to chatting with you every Sunday, my friend. I do. Welcome, Russell. Always.
The General's in the chat saying, happy Sunday, y'all. The General always gets a salute from Movies and Beyond. What is up, Val? See who else you guys have been really going through. And James has entered the chat. The Shape is here saying, hi there, everybody. I hope you had a great day. What is up, James? What is up, my man?
James, great to see you on here. Or I'm sorry, man. On here, you are the Shape. You absolutely are the Shape. You've earned that. Great to see you, the Shape. Great to see you on here.
Katie from Popping the Popcorn is here saying, hi, friends. And if you missed it last week, I was on Katie's channel. We did about an hour on her Creators Corner episode. I was on there. If you guys haven't checked that out yet, please go over to her channel and check that out. It was definitely a good time. Definitely a good time. Bye-bye Polar's in the chat saying, good evening, everyone. What's up, Polar?
Hello, Polar. Good to see you as always.
I am still trying to catch up. You guys are so awesome in the chat.
No worries. Take your time.
Joseph the Horror Guy is saying, hey guys, what is up, Joseph?
Joseph, welcome. Welcome.
Let's see. And Kim is also in the chat saying, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, Kim.
Kim, happy Sunday to you. And if I'm not mistaken, you also celebrated your anniversary with John this weekend. So I want to say happy anniversary from Movies and Beyond to you and John. I think that's freaking awesome. You guys are amazing. And yeah, I hope you had a wonderful anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
And I got a mask for you as well, Kim. It is in my vehicle. It's long overdue. That mask goes to you. You won that. I'm sorry it took me so long, but yeah, that is in my vehicle. And yeah, you guys are awesome.
Dino's in the chat saying, yes, so awesome when you guys stream. It makes my night. Thanks, Dino. We appreciate that, buddy. And it's always great to have you here, man. Always love when Dino's in the chat.
Absolutely. It makes my Sunday night as well. I'm not going to lie, but yeah, welcome, Dino.
The Shape is saying the Joker and Jason, a great tag team. Love to see you guys in the ring.
That's what I think me as the Joker would slam his ass as Jason. I would, but I'll keep it at that.
Rochelle's in the chat saying, hi, everyone. Michael and Matt, I love the masks. Rock on. Thank you, Rochelle.
Yeah, and welcome, Rochelle. Welcome, Rochelle. I'm a huge mask fan, and you don't have to twist my arm to put a mask on. That's for sure.
Hey, Matt, let's put a mask on. I got it.
Anything that covers this up,
I got it.
Sure you guys appreciate. Yeah.
Two boys and their scary pops in the chat saying Halloween is definitely the best time of year, and fall welcomes it in nicely. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yes.
Well said.
Yes, I couldn't have said it better. I watch horror movies year round, but there's something about putting when you know fall's just hit, and you choose very wisely what first horror movie you watch for the fall season. You do, whether you're a horror fan or not, you do. And it just, there's something special about that, man. So, man, yeah.
Val talking about the conventions we were talking about earlier. She said, don't know if I'm more excited to see the celebs or getting to meet all of you guys. Feelings mutual, Val. Definitely the feelings mutual.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, I hope I get a chance to meet you, Val. That'd be awesome. Celebs are awesome, but they're nothing like the people here in our chat. Like, cause that shit's real, dude. And that's people I can see again and again, hopefully. But yeah, I get it.
Lydia's reminding everyone, if you would like to support this show, please join Patreon and partake in the additional content. And she leaves the link down below, so it is there. If you are not a Patreon member and you would like to be, follow that link right there. We're doing all kinds of fun stuff over there.
Hell yeah.
Let's see who I think that I have.
You might even see Jerry. You might even see Jerry twerk on Patreon. I don't know.
Oh, good God. I have not been consulted about that yet, so that is not confirmed for sure. But Mad Mom, aka Teresa Stevens, is in the chat saying, hello, gang. Sorry I'm late to enter. I'm going crazy getting ready for this convention. Mad Dad wants you guys to know that you have the two best looking guys on the show by so far.
I can't wait to see those guys, man. But yes, yeah, man. Mad Mom is going crazy, dude. And props to her. She's gonna bring an amazing, Mad Matt's shop there to the convention. She has worked. She's went above and beyond. And if I can say one thing to her, I so appreciate it, Mother. I love you. It's gonna be awesome.
And Jerry would like you to know that he's available for that. So just contact his agent and we could probably make that happen.
And I actually know that. Jerry's the man, dude. I know that. And I appreciate you, Jerry, but that's something I know. You're the man, dude. And I hope you're doing well. I freaking love you, brother.
And definitely. So I think this, here's what I did, plan on for us to do tonight is, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Camp Crystal Lake series. I found an article that came out a few weeks ago where they go in depth with everything that we know so far. I'd like to talk about that. I'd like to know what everybody would like to see from that as well.
Or do we know it so far, man? Maybe you do.
Well, I will share the information.
All right. I don't know if I know everything.
Also, I'd like to talk a little bit about Halloween and where we would like to see, the series go. Like, what would you like to see? Maybe do a little bit of a Nightmare on Elm Street and just hang out with the chat. We won't be on next week, so I definitely wanted to make this about you guys, and just do a hangout. Make sure you guys we're going to run the intro here in a second. Grab yourself a snack if you haven't already, a drink of choice.
Let it go with what you're thinking. Let it go.
Any questions y'all want, throw them up there as long as they have to do with horror and what we talk about here. Throw them up there, man, and we'll do our best to answer your questions or at least give you what we think on the subject for sure. So with that being said, and me actually being caught up in the chat, let me go ahead and run this intro, Matt, and we'll come back and we'll get into a bunch of this stuff here. So we'll see you guys in a minute.
Let's do it.
All right.
Jones mess with the wrong melon farmers. Thug life. And here we go.
I prayed that he would burn in hell, but in my heart, I knew that hell would not have him.
Wish I had you all alone. Just the two of us.
All right. I'm getting a lot of comments about Thug Life. Thug Life. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So Jacob brought up a interesting point here. I would like to see Jason's father. That's not a bad idea. You're talking about Elias. So there is a fan film that is a 2-part fan film that I have been waiting to show on the show, but I'm going to do that, sometime soon after the convention before Halloween. I can't remember is it Bloodlust? Something like that. There's 2 of them, and it kind of dives into that story of Jason's father, and Jason's father is played in the fan film by C.J. Graham. So it is definitely a good story, and I think that you guys will definitely enjoy that one for sure.
Now, in the series that's coming out, correct?
I'm sorry.
The series is supposed to be coming out.
So Crystal Lake.
Right.
Yeah.
Do we have a date for that? For
No.
Crystal Lake? Okay.
No. So, and I will get in. I'm going to bring up this article here in a second, and it kind of like dives into that. It doesn't really give us anything solid, but we do know for a fact it's 2024. So that is mentioned for sure. Let me go ahead and bring this article up, and let's get into this. It is by Collider, and I don't, Collider's not. It's reliable. It's not my favorite place to get information, but they did have an in-depth article on it. So it gave us a lot of information. It was everything that we know so far. So it's not like it was trying to say, stuff that hasn't been announced yet. It was just a good gathering of all the information that we know. That way we can keep you guys up to date on everything that has been, stated or said, at this point. So let me go ahead and add this to the stream from Collider. Crystal Lake cast, plot, creators, and everything that we know so far.
Okay.
Let's see what we got here. This gives a little freaking backstory on it. Now a new page will be turned into a storyline, moves back in time with the latest installment in the Friday the 13th franchise, the prequel remake series, Crystal Lake. So they are calling it a prequel remake. So I'm wondering if, there may be some things that aren't, as consistent with the current Friday the 13th that we have now, the current, story that we know. Maybe there'll be a few changes in there. And when I see words like remake, that makes me think that, not everything that you see will fall in line with everything that we know this, so far, for sure.
Right.
Okay, so production on the Crystal Lake has finally moved forward following a legal battle over production rights. Brian Fuller, who previously worked on projects such as Hannibal and Star Trek Discovery, will collaborate with A24 and Peacock to write and create a prequel series with Steven Dotson, who was set to write and direct and executive produce. Kevin Williamson from Scream, I know my Scream fans out there know who Kevin Williamson is, will also write at least one episode of the series. Joining Steven Dotson and executive producer is Victor Miller, who wrote the original Friday the 13th film. So that's a lot to unpack right there.
It is. And man, I'll go ahead and start off with what I'm hoping for is that they start fresh. And I don't think I'm alone, man. Let me know a little bit about Pamela. Take me back to what Pamela Voorhees was like before all this bullshit. And as far as Jason's dad, is he a drunk? Is he a piece of shit? Was he a great man? I don't know, but that's kind of what I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, if you want something else. But as far as for this thing to start off, that's what I want them to dive into. I want to know who the hell Pamela is, who Jason's dad was. You know, start off with her, you know, cooking the meals at Crystal Lake and stuff. But that's what I'm hoping, you know, that they dive into. I think there's a lot of story there, a lot of story. We can put Jason on the side for a while, you know, as long as we know he's coming, because that's who we've all, you know, grown to love is Jason. So, but yeah, dude, they could give a season or two that's mainly focused on him as a young boy, and mainly focusing on Pamela and you know, Pamela's lover, or Pamela's, you know, whatever Jason's, you know, dad is. I don't know, but that's what I want it to be, man. I want to go back to the roots, brother.
Yeah. And I mean, it's hold on to that thought as we get later into the article, because it may answer some of that for you.
Sure.
As we get there. Jerry is also asking, who would you like to see Pamela Voorhees? And to me, it would be a dream. It would never happen, but I would love to see Vera Farmiga play Pamela Voorhees. I think that she would do a fantastic job playing Pamela, the way she was in Bates Motel, not to mention, you know, the way that she took on The Conjuring. I think that she would just be, Vera Farmiga to me would be a dream Pamela. Now, will it happen for a Peacock movie? Highly doubt it. But if you want to know who I would like to see play her, it would be Vera for sure.
And Michael, I'm not hating on that whatsoever, but I think you need two Pamelas. You need one that's, you know, that 25-year-old cook, or, you know, that young Pamela.
Maybe, but I don't know.
Pamela.
I don't think that they're going back that far with this. I really don't. And I'll show you up here on why I think that. The additional producers include Fuller, Carl Gwen, Rob Barsamian, I'm assuming. Sorry if I mispronounced that. And Victor Miller's copyright attorney. God, I can't read tonight. Mark Toberoff, who oversaw the obtaining of production rights. Apart from the producers and writers, it's worth nothing that Camp Crystal Lake may bring back Tom Savini, who worked as a special effects makeup artist on Friday the 13th and Friday the 13th Final Chapter. That would be awesome to bring him back to, for sure. When will Camp Crystal Lake come out? Peacock has yet to release an exact date, but Crystal Lake is expected to be released sometime in 2024, according to a tweet and Instagram post by actress Adrienne King. She poses in a photo with Brian Fuller discussing a few tiny details that she is allowed to about production, adding the hashtag 2024 at the end of her post. You can see her Instagram post below here.
How exciting is this, man?
This is the Instagram post that she put up, and her hashtag down here says coming 2024 right here. So I love her hashtags. You know, she has at A24, stay tuned, happy camper, Crystal Lake, horror junkie, Friday vibes, Friday the 13th, new series coming 2024, horror fans. So yeah, like that's
that's right. I'm so excited. Man, I just feel like I can, and I love Jason, guys. I love Jason. I just think there's a lot of story. Say this is a series that goes on 7 seasons. I'm okay with not seeing Jason till season 4 or 5.
Yeah.
As long as I know I'm gonna see him, that's fine. But man, I think there's a lot of story with Pamela, dude. Just going back to how amazing Pamela was in the first one, and we got such little story with her in that, you know. I absolutely think this is a series that can thrive, and done right. I'm stoked, man.
Well,
what do you think? What do you think, Michael? Like,
so once I get through all the article, because a lot of things we're talking about, they're going to address in the article. So So once I get through it, I'll give you my thoughts on it, because a couple of things that they're saying here are things that I didn't know. That is just it's mind-boggling to say the least, but not in a horrible way. But it just confuses me on exactly what this is going to be, for the simple fact that I was under the impression that we're going way back, but we may not be going back as far as.
Which is kind
I
of cool
think.
too. I'd rather know too little than too much. I really would.
I agree. I do agree. Adrienne King, who was the original final girl in the first film and made a small cameo appearance in the second Friday the 13th Part 2, has been confirmed to be a reoccurring character in Crystal Lake, but it's unclear what role her character will play in the series. She is also involved in the writing process for the new series, and that's when she tweeted out right here, "My first writers meeting for Crystal Lake." And that's Adrienne King right here with all of the writers. So you know that she's heavily involved with the writers, if she's in there with them in the thick of things. There's nobody better that I would like to have than Adrienne King, in there talking about, the originality of Friday the 13th. Like, you've got the original final girl involved in, a time of Friday the 13th. We're going
Are you
back
sure
to.
you wouldn't rather have Jenny?
For
I'm just saying.
the originality, no.
I know you guys- I know
I'd
you
rather
guys-
have
Jenny.
I'd rather have Adrienne King
All right.
for the
I
original.
just had to ask, Michael.
If we're talking about part 2, then yeah, definitely Jenny.
I just had to ask. So I know you still get giddy about that.
Oh, I love Jenny for sure. Okay, so here we go. What's the plot of Crystal Lake about? Crystal Lake is set to be a prequel series that leads up to the events that took place in the original Friday the 13th film from 1980. For now, the official synopsis states a group of friends vacation at a house that is connected to a dark past. Clearly, there are a lot of different directions the series can go on from there. While exact plot details have been kept under wraps or under the lake, zing, it's safe to wonder if we might go to see a younger version of Jason as he interacts with campers and counselors at Crystal Lake in a reenacted flashback sequence from the first film. Of course, the first film bounces back and forth between 58 and 79 with a reference to Jason drowning in the lake in 57 due to the negligence of the camp counselors. While the first Friday film primarily takes place in 79, the timeline that is referenced in the first film spans over 3 decades, giving ample choices of where Crystal Lake will take place. So, I mean, that's really not telling me a whole lot. It's telling me, hey, we might bounce around in time here. What it's about, we'll give you what they told us, but they're not going to give us anything that we can really make any sense out of. You know what I mean?
But guys, it's exciting. It's exciting.
It is.
It's like with Freddy vs. Jason when they went back in time. I love that sequence.
Yeah.
I know it was very short lived. You know what I'm talking about, Michael? Though.
Yeah.
When they, dude, I loved it. There's so much story there. There's so much story.
Yeah. So this is what got me right here. Okay. It's quite possible that Crystal Lake could take place prior to the 50s, but it's most likely the series will take place between 57 and 58 deaths and the ones that occurred in 1979 with the newly reopened camp. The actor who is listed as playing Jason Voorhees in this series is an adult. So it's likely that the series will not focus solely on Jason's childhood. That right there. So the actor that they have is an adult. Are they only giving us one actor? Or is this gonna? So that kind of like throws a wrench in everything that I thought. At that point.
It does, and I don't buy it. I don't buy it. You can't go back in time, because you can't go back in time and really talk about Pamela as that young, mother loving her son. You can't, and only have an adult Jason. I don't buy it, Michael.
Now, if they're bouncing, back and forth, then maybe that'll make sense.
What's the chat think here? so far.
Let's see where we're at here.
You know, our chat has some serious ground here. And
Jerry was thinking Jenna Jameson for Pamela Voorhees.
no,
What kind of movie would that be? What kind of movie?
Jerry.
Jeff DeAngelo's in the chat saying, "Hey everyone, sorry I'm late. What's up, Jeff? How you doing, buddy?"
What's up, Jeff? No worries, buddy. What's up? Good to see you on here, man. Always.
Two boys and a scary pop saying it's September 2024. We get a Friday the 13th on the calendar. We have one this year in October. That's when the Never Hike Alone 2 comes out. I love Friday the 13th. With this series, where do they need to fill in the gaps? Well, I mean,
if you go way back, there's all kinds of gaps to be filled in.
Not to mention, prior to reading this article, I thought I had an idea what this might be about. Now I'm kind of a little, okay, maybe it is going to be about that. Maybe it's not. But I mean, you think you have the gap between, when Jason drowned and when the people were killed in the first Friday the 13th. You had, what was it, like 30 years in between there.
Dude, I want to know who the dickheads were that pushed him in the water. Like, dude.
Well, I don't think that he. Oh shit, I don't know. It doesn't really say. It just says that the camp counselors weren't watching him. And there have been different renditions of that. You go to Freddy vs. Jason, it shows kids push him in. And then you look at the original Friday the 13th. He's just out there drowning. So
after he was pushed in, I feel like he was pushed in. Like,
could be. It could be. But I don't know why Pamela didn't go after the kids, pushed him in though. You know what I mean? Like,
I know it's funny, guys, because when this was first going on, I was like, I don't have that much, like, maybe invest as long. Now I'm like getting more and more because I'm seeing the potential, man. You get the right writers, directors, dude. There's so much potential to just.
I like a lot of stuff A24 did. So, having them involved with it and the writer for Hannibal, I mean, it's like, okay, this could be really good. It looks like they have some good people behind it.
And your material's there, dude. The base is there, dude.
Yeah.
God, run with it, man. Run with it. And you got to get the right person. You have to get the right person to play Pamela. I think they need two Pamelas. They need a very young, 17-year-old Pamela, and they need a, Vera Farmiga.
I would love her to be in it so much.
No shit.
I would love her to be in that so much. Like,
I would too.
It's not going to happen, but I would absolutely love it.
But it also very much intrigues me to see a very young Pamela, like, Jason's her first child, to see her relationship with the husband, how that all went,
I don't know. I always thought of him as being kind of like a controlling.
I don't think it can start with Vera.
I don't know. We'll see what they have in store for us. I'm definitely curious. It's for sure. Jacob is saying, just imagine if Jason's father drowned him in the lake. That'd be so messed up. Yeah, there's all kinds of things that you.
Dude, that is another route you can go down. He was embarrassed. There's so many routes you can take.
Yeah. Maybe he was out in a boat with his dad, and his dad knew he couldn't swim and kicked him out of the boat. You know what I mean?
His dad was this big shot, and then he's faced with having this, deformed. Dude, that could be so dark. I've never went down that until right now. Like, but that's wicked as hell too.
You would definitely, if you do go that route, you would definitely have to include Elias in a lot more of the story than, Pamela's biggest thing was killing the lifeguards that weren't, the counselors that weren't paying attention. But
right.
If that's the case, I would feel like he would, I don't know. Like there is a lot to unpack with that. You know,
There
like
is.
wouldn't her
There is.
rage go towards him and not the counselors?
Correct.
You know, like there's a lot that you could really look at with that, and definitely Jacob.
Or he kept it under wraps. You know.
Yeah, it could be.
You know, he.
But then again, it's like what happened to him. You know what I mean? Like there's so much. Yeah, like there's so much you can unpack with that.
Did that and tried to cover it up. Like there's so much material, man. Yeah.
Mad Mom is saying, if I remember correctly, Michael, I believe that you mentioned the new Friday the 13th series the first time I met you at the booth. You were so excited. You got me excited about it. That's a possibility. You know,
no,
it definitely is a possibility.
I was there. She's not bullshitting. She's not there. She's not alone. I was there. And this has been something that's been brewing for a long ass time, man. And there's also, there's current horror movies that are coming out that I'd like to know what some of our people in chat think about. We just had Talk to Me come out. We've got The Last Voyage that I wish I was at the. I want to go see that very soon. There's a lot going on with horror right now, man.
There is, and with the writer's strike and everything, you don't know how long that's gonna, be. Like, what kind of gap are we gonna get with movies here because of everything that's happening now with the actor strike and the writer's strike? There's so much crap going on that we're just creating a gap later on down the road. Everything we're getting now was all made prior, to that happening. So it's just I don't know what kind of gap.
I'd like to ask a very serious question from the chat. What intrigues you guys more? The start of the Friday the 13th series, or if you were to hear that they are currently working on a new Michael Myers, what gets you more excited? I'd love to know that.
Michael's had his time. He needs a break. I think that
I wasn't asking you solely.
If you feed another Halloween on top of Ends after that, you're talking about just exhaustion.
But this is, I think the Halloween franchise, if you ask me, it needs to go back. It needs to go back. Like, forget everything else. Doing in between, like, whether it's like in between Michael and the insane asylum or something, but there's so many rabbit holes you can go down with that as well. I talked to James the Shape a lot, and he wants to go on about how, like, it wasn't Michael being chopped up in that and everything. I don't know if they can go that route, man. I almost think they got to like backtrack or some shit.
You can't have himself be put back together after he just got grinded up.
Yeah, it's just I just wondered, because man, the Michael franchise and the Michael fan base is strong. It'll always be strong. But I just don't know what everybody's thinking right now. They've got to be all over the board, with what's going to happen next, because let's face it, we will see Michael again. We will, whether they've went back in time, whether they've, we will see Michael again. I just like to hear the take on what they think that they're going to do with that, because I have no idea, and that's another thing that's all over the board, man. I hope the Friday the 13th, I hope they go way back, man. Let's start at the beginning, man. Let's start at the beginning. Who is Pamela? Because I want to say Pamela was an amazing woman. I think that'd be so cool. She was an amazing woman, not a killer. An amazing woman that loved her son. That's who Pamela is to me. She got to be the woman we know because of the love she had for her son. I think there's just stupid potential there, man.
Yeah, I mean,
correct me if I'm wrong, but I look at Pamela. I think it'd be so awesome if she's just this freaking amazing woman that you feel for. because that makes what she ended up doing it makes such more impact, you know.
100% more impact. Like what was she like before she broke?
Yeah, before she broke, absolutely.
And I mean, what is the quote from the Joker? Bring up the Joker. He says, like everybody's normal, one bad day can turn you into me. You know what I mean? Like it's just like those aren't the exact words, but that was the point he was getting at. And it's just like,
I get it.
You're one bad day away from being a psychopath.
To me, Pamela was not born evil. She was not a villain. I'm sorry, but let some stupid ass counselors let me drown, and you deal with Teresa Stevens afterwards. Like you deal with Mad Mom, Michael. I'm telling you, she's coming after you, dude. I'm telling you, she's coming after you.
Hey.
And it goes into that, because that should dive into that love that a mother has for her son more than anything, and that's a love you just can't,
right?
You can't put on paper, dude. But that's what would be so awesome. Just start with Pamela, man, just being this freaking amazing, like everybody goes to her for advice, she's this, she's that, and let it show you what she'll go through if someone fucks with her boy. I'm sorry, but yeah, man, it excites me, man.
Yeah. They're also saying Crystal Lake will serve as a more in-depth origin story for the hockey mask killer Jason Voorhees. Brian Fuller has previously stated that Crystal Lake is less of a prequel series than a pre-remakeable series. This could be a newly forming concept for horror franchises after requels or legacy quels, which are basically brand new characters supported by legacy characters. When asked if there were limitations on using characters and locations from the Friday the 13th franchise, Fuller said, everything. We can use everything. We can go to hell. We can go to space. That's not to say we will do those things, although if we do go 10 seasons, I will be lobbying hard to go to space. And I think that that's freaking hilarious. I absolutely find that freaking hilarious for sure. So, with them saying that it's less of a prequel series than a pre-remakeable series, so there's a lot of the word remake, being thrown around.
Which that I don't get. It's either I don't get or I hope that's not the case, because we've never went really far back as far as like, I want to see Pamela at 16, 17, falling in love with, Mr. Voorhees. So I don't know what they're saying about like, as far as like, pre whatever you're saying, it needs to go further back. It needs to be something we've never seen before, in my opinion.
I do want to see, Pamela's story, but I don't really know if I'd really care about going all the way back to her in high school. You know what I mean? Like I get where you're coming from, but for me, it's more of, what was she like prior to this? And then what was she like after this happened? All the things that we didn't see, because you remember in Friday the 13th, the original, everything was from, of Pamela up until the end was from the camera's point of view. You know what I mean? You didn't know who the killer was. And, you got her dialogues, towards the end of the film to where she talks about her son, she talks about Jason, all that stuff and all the things that happened, but I would like to see what happened in between, when Jason drowned, maybe a little bit of what she was like before that.
Dude, done right. Her build up and into madness could be second to none. I feel like, if done right.
Yeah, for sure.
I see what you're saying, and this not really like me. Like, dude, don't get me wrong. I watch Friday the 13th because I want to see Jason's big ass, manhandle people. Don't get me wrong. I'm not in that for the story, but and that says something about what the potential. I feel like that says a lot about what kind of potential I think this has, because it's not really like me. I watched Friday the 13th. I want to see Jason smack people against trees in their sleeping bags.
We'll get there.
I do, and I think that most of the people in the chat know me for that. But I think it says something. There's a lot of story there, dude, with the right people behind it. You could make something sick. I will say on another note, I did just recently watch Talk to Me, and that movie surprised the shit out of me.
I haven't seen it yet, so I don't want to really go into detail about that.
That's fine. That's fine. I'll say it surprised me, Michael. I'll say it surprised me. I was a guy who watched the trailer, and I wasn't like over the moon about it, but it was very, very, very different, and it hit a home run for what it was, for sure.
So it's always good when they come out with something new. Not something that you've seen 100 times before with like different actors and a different version of the same story. Right. That's great.
That's what it was.
Lydia is saying all it takes is one bad day to reduce the sanest man to lunacy. Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, that's definitely, the quote I was looking for. That was from The Killing Joke, if I'm not mistaken. Let me know that, Lydia. That's where you got it from. Dean Rockboy is saying, what about gore? Yeah, well, I mean,
gore like in general?
If we're talking about, Friday the 13th, it's that was Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th's shtick. Like when Halloween came out in 78, they did it with barely any blood. It was all built on like tension. It was more of a thriller than anything else. It was just, it was hurry up, get away, or, a jump scare, but there wasn't really any blood whatsoever, until Friday the 13th came out, and, you've got Tom Savini just, blowing stuff up, that's always been, more along the lines of Friday the 13th. So I would expect there to be gore in it. At least I would hope so.
I want to say that Dean is saying, like, if you're going way back, how do you add gore, to, and I think there's ways to do that, or am I off? I think there's ways to do that. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm by myself on this. If everybody thinks I'm wanting to go too far back and wanting too much, I don't know. Expecting too much story. I don't know. And that's okay. I just feel like there's a lot there that could make I think it's a series that could go for a long time, but correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. It has to be done correctly. I'll say that.
Jacob is saying, I would save Jason from drowning. And then Jerry comes back with, I would save Jacob from saving Jason. I love it. I love it.
Saving Jason. That's awesome.
Teresa saying, hey, James, Mad Dad is trying to wheel and deal with me to buy that H1 custom mask for me. And so far, I'm not biting on his offer. Somehow he thinks he is entitled to 30% off. James really wants that mask, for sure. He does, for sure. Spicy 4K action is in the chat saying, what's up, everyone? What is going on?
What is up? We are talking horror, talking some Friday the 13th that we have nothing, we know nothing about hardly, and we all have it's wishful thinking over here, but yeah.
hoping to God that and like I said, with that franchise, man, I'm always nervous. You know, you want the stuff that you love so much to be, um, you want it.
It's funny. I feel like I'm almost starting to get a little bit more invested than you are, Michael. Um, you know, and I am like, the more we talk about it, I'm like, God damn it! If they don't give me a Mrs. Voorhees at prom,
Yeah, I know.
you know, like,
I'm never gonna watch after season 1 after that
because, and I'll say it was not too long ago, guys, that I watched the first one for the first time. It wasn't that long ago. I always put the original Friday the 13th off because I knew Jason wasn't in it, and I was always like, well, why bother, you know? And then when I did and I watched it, I was like, oh my God, this Betsy Palmer, dude, she knocked it out of the park. And it never gave us it gave us the basics. Her boy drowned. You know, she's pissed. Counselors weren't watching her. She wants to kill him. That's it. You know, that's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, who's Jason's dad? Who was Mrs. Voorhees? Like, there's a lot of story, man.
I mean, it especially with slashers back in the day, you know, they didn't rely so much on story, and you can look at all of them and say that, you know, it's more about, you know,
kill count.
Well, I think in the 80s it became about kill count, yes. When you go back and look at those, it's more of like, even if you look at, you know, you look at Jason and you could say, yeah, it's bare bones, you know, of what you know. And I mean, Michael's the same way. It's bare bones. Who were Michael's parents other than a lady that just puts her hands in her pockets with her boy is standing out there with a butcher knife standing there in the front yard? You know,
right,
like who was any of that? Like,
right.
They're just not, you know, I don't think that people are, you know, so invested. But Two Boys and a Scary Pops has asked a very good question. What are 3 musts for this new series, and would you build a TV show to tie into a movie? The easiest one for me to answer is yes, I would build this to tie into a movie. My 3 musts are good character development. I want you to make me care about the characters for sure, 100%. I have to invest in the characters, a lot like with the Bates Motel did. You know, if you look back at their previous, you know, projects, with Bates Motel being it, I actually was drawn into the story. So
yeah,
caring about the characters, the story, and I want them to do Friday the 13th justice. You know, I want to know that this is tied into Friday the 13th. I don't want to have to kind of figure it out along the way, other than, you know, knowing the title's Camp Crystal Lake. I want it to feel Friday the 13th, whether that be through music, whether that be through like filming technique, you know, just something to connect me to what I do know from Friday the 13th. And I think that would be that would be the biggest 3 musts for me. So we're looking at, you know, characters, we're looking at tie-ins, you know, and yeah, man, I'd love it to connect to a movie. If they can work together to make that happen and it's consistent. It's not Friday the 13th is really bad for saying, okay, well, fuck it, let's do it. You know, a lot of them are, you know, a lot of those slasher movies are.
Yeah.
And it's just like, look, put some love into the story, you know, build it, take your time. If it doesn't come out till 2025, if you do it right, I can wait. Don't be like, hey, I've got to kit this out, you know, and throw me some half-ass stuff. Like, for the love of God, please take your time, make it good, and do the franchise justice. Like, that's the biggest thing for me.
I love what you just said, Michael. I'll answer that much simpler. I love what you just said. Give me a nasty backstory with Pamela. Make it gritty and dirty and disturbing as hell, and finish it off with a badass movie with a big ass, massive, destructive Jason Voorhees. I'll say that right there. Those are my 3. I love what you said, Michael. I can't say it as good as well as you, so that's why I kept it that simple. But for me, that's what it is. Yeah, give me a an awesome backstory with Pamela. Make it hit home. Put the right people in there, the right actors. Dirty, grimy, gritty, and top it off with a badass film with an amazing Jason Voorhees. Yeah. That reminds me of Richard Brooker or Kane Hodder or something like that. Yeah. Keep going with the chat, Michael. I'm going to use the restroom real quick.
Before you do,
right
think
back.
about this question while we're going to the bathroom. What's your guys' favorite guilty pleasure horror movie? Something that pretty much got trashed by the majority of people.
Oh, okay. I'll be right back. I'll think on that. Got it.
The first thing popping in my head is probably Sleepaway Camp 2. I love the Sleepaway Camp movies. I do 1, 2, and 3. I do really like those, and they're not great. Let's be fair. The first one, yeah, I think that one was really good. I think that was a good movie. When you get to 2 and 3, they are a little cheesy, probably a lot of cheesy, but there's just something about Sleepaway Camp 2. I don't know what it is, but that is one of those old school guilty pleasure horror movies that I can watch anytime. And it's funny because the amount of things that I talk about movies, like it didn't have structure, it didn't have this, it didn't have that, but yet here I am. If somebody's like, hey, you want to watch Sleepaway Camp 2? I'm like, yes, I do. I do want to watch Sleepaway Camp 2. I really can't explain it. And I guess that's why it's a guilty pleasure, right? I don't have an argument for why I want to watch it. But I absolutely love Sleepaway Camp 2. Jacob Ware is saying, but you can show too much that can hurt your movie or show. And Jacob, we have talked about that quite a bit on this channel. Whether you're talking about trailers or even in the show itself, yeah, you can show too much. And the biggest thing, with us talking about trailers is the amount of cool stuff that we have seen prematurely. You can go back to one of the ones that always pops in my head is Halloween Kills, with him killing the firefighters. Do you know how awesome that would have been, if you had not seen any of that in the trailer? Like when I saw Halloween Kills, it's like, oh yeah, this is that cool part I saw in the trailer. And it's tough. It is tough. And you are 100% right. Let's see. Russell is saying, I'm not sure about the Crystal Lake TV series. And hey, man, it has me nervous with it being, my favorite of the slasher franchises, and you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I am nervous about it as well, for sure. John is saying guilty pleasure chopping mall. Yeah. That is definitely a guilty pleasure movie for sure. Chopping Mall was another one that was 100%. Did you think about your
I have almost watched Chopping Mall a couple times, and I just can't bring myself to do it. I have.
Well, no, I mean, did you think about your guilty pleasure horror movie? Something that pretty much got trashed.
That's what I'm saying. I have.
Okay.
I don't know if they fit exactly with what we're going with, but for me, it's gonna be between Pumpkinhead and Wishmaster.
Okay.
The reason I say Pumpkinhead, like I know a lot of people know about it, but I don't feel like it ever gained the momentum it should have. You're talking about Stan Winston's, first directorial debut. The creature of Pumpkinhead looked phenomenal. And then you go to Wishmaster, man. And I've talked to a lot of my good friends who know horror. And I said, have you ever seen Wishmaster? And they're like, no. And it blows my mind. So it's between Wishmaster and Pumpkinhead for me.
Okay.
I would love to this day for Pumpkinhead to get a remake, and I don't know if I want. I would rather it not be in CGI, and they just take their time, and but those are two of my favorites that never really gained the ground I feel like they should have.
I think that Pumpkinhead has become more popular as the years have went on, though. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think they felt like it was dog shit when it first was.
I've never heard anyone trash Pumpkinhead. I've never heard anyone come up to me and say that's the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. Pumpkinhead was always cool. Granted, it didn't get like the huge following that the slashers did in the 80s and everything. But yeah, I always felt like that was a good movie for sure.
Because maybe I like it too much. I don't know. Maybe I like it too much. Because hell, Michael, you know me. I'm a massive Pumpkinhead fan. But I always felt like it was more. I don't have a great answer because I was never that. I'm just being honest. I was never that guy that really liked the really true underground horror films. You start talking about like Basket Case, Chopping Mall. Another one that comes to mind though is it's not Fright Night, but what's the one? Demon Night with Angela. I love that film.
God, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time. Demon Night.
Yeah, dude, I love that film. I love it's even as much back then. It all comes down to art. Like when Angela is just gliding down those halls. Remember that?
Barely. I'll be 100% honest with you, dude. It has been years.
All right. Well, yeah, it had been for me as well, but I watched it, I'd say probably about 6 or 7 months ago. But yeah, like the 80s, there's something about the 80s with the practical effects that you just can't get back. But where she's gliding down that hallway and everything, it's so creepy, man. Yeah. But again, man, I won't pretend to be somebody I'm not. I am a horror fan, but a lot of the time spent with me, as far as like the 80s and stuff, I was doing a whole lot of rewatching. Rewatching Halloween, rewatching, Friday the 13th. So, I envy the people in the true horror fans that can say anything about everything, whether you're talking Basket Case or you're talking Chopping Mall or you're talking Friday the 13th Part 5. Like,
my brain just doesn't have the capacity to remember everything.
I can do my best, but I'm also not, gonna be fake. And there's a lot of movies I did not see because I wanted to watch Halloween 5 again.
Yeah.
That's just how it was, man.
I just don't know. I just don't think that my memory of things isn't like I have to refresh myself with stuff to be able to engage in conversation about it.
Yeah.
There are movies that I haven't seen forever, but I know that I've seen them. And then when somebody talks about it, it's like, dude, I'm not even going to sit here and pretend to remember, what we're talking about right now.
That's cool because a lot of people would just go,
no idea.
I know I watched Poltergeist, but it was never my baby. I from when I watched it, very young, I watched it, but I wanted to see the killer in the white mask, man. I did.
You got hooked on Halloween, and it was just scary. Somebody's got to kill somebody.
Another Poltergeist. I did. So just keeping it real. My one of my best friends and high school, he was a guy that introduced me to a lot. Dude, he introduced me to A Clockwork Orange. Now, I'm sorry, but when it comes to like underground, creepy before its time, that movie takes the cake, dude. That movie takes the cake. And this was my boy, and he was like, he knew I liked horror. He's like, dude, you gotta check this movie out.
Yeah.
And when he put it in, I think I got about maybe 15 minutes into it, and I was like, dude, no, let me show you Halloween. This I was like, no. And it wasn't probably 20 years later I put that in, and I was like, this movie's phenomenal, like, because it really is, but you gotta like take that stuff for what it's worth, man. But Clockwork Orange, that's in a league of its own, man, of just disturbing before its time movies. I don't even know how they I don't even know how they got that movie out at the time they did. That movie's bonkers, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did. He was like, man, you got to check this out, man. And I was like, okay. 15 minutes later, I was like a little bit bored and disturbed.
Right.
I was like, okay. Have you seen Halloween 2?
Let's talk about Loomis. I'm not trying to talk about Clockwork Orange right now.
Yeah,
The Shining. What are you talking about? I'm trying to watch Loomis.
But
I got you.
It shows me he was on that level where he could dive into that other realm where I couldn't.
Two Boys and a Scary Pops is saying, seem they really need to go with less is more on trailers, but nowadays we seem to get the whole movie in the trailers, and I totally agree with that. Like it's that's something that we talk about, countless times.
Yeah,
it's just like, man, did you see that trailer? Yeah, it was great, but now I feel like I know everything that happened in the movie. And how many movies did you see where it's like all the cool parts were in the trailer? And it's just like,
oh my god, yeah.
Why?
Oh my god, yeah. One movie that I'm happy with that's coming out is The Nun 2. I've seen that trailer multiple times, and they don't show a whole lot, and I'm like, thank God. I don't even want to see another trailer, but oh my god, it's absolutely become a trend.
I want The Nun 2 to be good. Oh yeah, I mean,
if we didn't know he was in the closet,
Halloween Kills, freaking Scream 6, all
Kills
of them, dude.
Terrible. Kills was terrible.
It's
I want agree, and I want The Nun 2 to be great, and I know you do.
I do, but
I want it more. I almost want it more for you.
From what? It's just like, dude, are you gonna take the chain off of her, or are we gonna do this again? You know what I mean? That's the biggest fear I have with that.
Yeah, and as much as I even stick up for part one, I can't hate on you for saying that. Like, take the chain off her. Take the chain off of her. Let this fucking demon wreak some havoc. Yeah. And I feel like that's what they're gonna do. But I also get it, she's never going to be, the Jason Voorhees or Michael that's like stuck in the, the woods or the cabin.
But still, you could do some cool stuff with Valak. You really can.
She's more demonic behind the scenes, like eat at you kind of shit. But they gotta unchain the bitch. I agree. I agree.
Sean Hess is in the chat saying, "Hey guys, how are you? What's up, Sean? How you doing, buddy? Happy to have you
here. See you, Sean, and everybody, Michael. You're not alone. Everybody that I tell that I love, the original Nun 2, they look at me like, really, you, Matt? You thought that was a good one? Like, yeah."
Well, yeah, because you have this personality to where you want go, 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 go. You know what I mean? Like that's the theme of a lot of your favorite movies, and that's great. Right. So it is surprising, when you're like, man, I love The Nun, and it's just like, what?
And I get that. I'm not,
because I'm all about a slow burn, but even in The Nun, I'm like, holy shit, what is going on at this point? Like,
God. I get that. I get that. because yeah, it's not my style. It's not my style.
It's like you're telling me that this monastery out in the woods that hasn't been
I'd
touched just
almost
happens to
say,
have some freaking Jesus blood stored away in it. Are you serious?
I'd
Like
almost say,
really?
uh, if you, I'm also huge atmosphere, and I don't know if anything gets atmosphere better than not even just the Nun, but the Conjuring universe. Their atmospheres are stupid good, whether they're in a house, a freaking church. Um, I'm big on atmosphere. You get, I, I stand to this day. It's just all art to me, man. You get a good atmosphere. You get a character that I just love to gawk at. That's evil, demonic as hell. Like you've got me. Um, so, but yeah, they need to unchain her. They need
They need to do something. I mean,
you said it so great. They need to unchain her. Let her go to town. Let's wreak some havoc, because in this is in my opinion, Valak is the best looking horror villain since way back in the day with Michael, Jason, and Freddy. She looks that good. She looks so good. So let's do something with her, man. She looks that good. Like,
yeah, we'll see what they do.
that's
Fingers are crossed, but expectations are not that high, if I'm being honest with it. Like fingers are crossed that I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but at the same time, it's like
going in with that. Like
I guarantee, and I hate to say this, but I'm gonna wait till it comes out. I'm not going to the theaters. Like I fell asleep during the first one, and
I was even gonna buy your popcorn.
it's like this one. I'm not there. You're not getting me twice. You know what I mean? I'm gonna wait till it comes out.
I was gonna buy your popcorn. Maybe even your admission, man.
Wayne Turner's well, if you pay for the movie, I'll go. Wayne Turner is in the chat saying, I am late and beyond. Hi, all. It's 11:21 a.m. Monday here in Sydney, Australia. What is up, Wayne? It wouldn't be Movies and Beyond without Wayne. What is up, my man?
Yeah, what's up, Wayne?
Oh, let's see where we're at. John made a cool comment here saying Hereditary is probably the last movie to scare me. Hereditary was another one that it's a lot of people love this movie. A lot of people love Hereditary, and for me, it was definitely a slow burn. It had quite a few oh shit moments for me, but I can see that. I can see people agreeing with that statement for sure.
Yeah, Hereditary for me. Yeah, it's absolutely a slow burn. But even for me, if someone says, "Hey, what do you think about it?" I'm gonna put it fairly high up there. It does have its oh shit moments for sure.
Yeah,
and it ends with an absolute bang. But where it falls short for me is really it comes down to the rewatchability. Like, if I
agree.
If I have a bunch of friends over, I'm not gonna say, "Hey guys, let's check out Hereditary." But was it a great movie for what it was? And yeah. I can't disagree with John. And yeah.
Jacob's asking, what is one movie that totally scared y'all? Mine was Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2. Oh,
okay.
I have two that come to mind from when I was a kid.
You go right ahead, Michael.
The first one was The Exorcist. That scared the living crap out of me as a kid. Granted, I was way too young to watch it when I watched it. And the other one, it was the first Phantasm. But then again, these are coming from a time of me being, sitting on a couch watching these movies late at night, probably 5 or 6 years old, and they literally left an impression on me, especially The Exorcist. I still don't like watching that movie to this day because of the way it made me feel as a kid. And somewhere subliminally, in my mind, it's just like oh God, that movie scared the hell out of me as a kid. Way too young to be watching that one, and I'll never forget. And it's funny how your memory of things.
Your mother's in here with us, Karis.
Yeah, it's funny how your memory of things. Like one of the things that scared the hell out. Yeah, but you didn't watch The Exorcist till you were like 30 something, right?
Pushing 40.
Okay, so seeing it now definitely different than seeing it as a little kid.
No, I wanted to see that as a little kid. No.
Yeah, but like I was saying about the memory, it's funny because I have this image in my head of Phantasm, seeing it as a kid, and when the tall man grabs that coffin and throws it in the back of the hearse by himself, and then going back and rewatching that as an adult, it looks totally different than the way my mind remembers seeing it. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, absolutely.
Like going back to watch it now, and I just look at it now like, well, that really wasn't that scary. It's like, well, asshole, that was 36 years ago, 37 years ago.
Exorcist fanatic, and it was scary for its time. Do not let anybody tell you any different. Like, and before that, we had not seen anything like that. But for me to answer this same question, I'm weird, man. I'm fucking weird. I find strange stuff. The first thing that comes to mind is the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay. Scared the shit out of me. Down to the girl, there's no running in the hallway with the sweater on. She creeped me the F out. Tina with her legs raising and in the body bag going down the hallway, that freaked me the hell out. And I'll tell you one that might surprise a lot of people. You guys, friends of mine alike. It was Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 when I was in my bedroom and I had this big thing. I used to love lighting a bunch of candles, turning the lights out, and watching scary movies. So I did that. I lit a bunch of candles, was watching. I turned on Texas Chainsaw 2, and most of you guys are thinking, well, dude, that was like a horror comedy.
It was.
What freaked you out? It was something about when Stretch goes down in that, whatever it is, her basement den, and then Chop Top's down there out of nowhere, acting creepy as shit, scratching his little head and talking to her. It freaked me the F out, dude. And I wish I could say this was like a 10-year-old Matt, but I'm saying I watched this. I was probably a teenager doing this, and it freaked me out so much, dude. I shut the movie off, blew out the candles, I went to bed. I'm just keeping it real, man. I'm just keeping it real. But it was something about that, like when he shows up and he's doing that, like, peace is love, and like, I know it's almost supposed to be funny, but I can even date back further than that to really, it was always the strange things that creeped me out, man. The Wizard of Oz, the monkeys in the Wizard of Oz, dude, creeped me out more than most horror movies I can think about. But now you are talking about when I'm a kid.
Try. You as a kid's like the Wizard of Oz, and I'm like the damn Exorcist. That shit scarred me for like, no idea.
And then I go to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, man. The Oompa Loompas and like him going in that like weird tunnel and stuff. So really, aside from those, I can't think of anything else. It's Friday. It's a Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. Texas Chainsaw 2 with Chop Top in the basement. And then it goes to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The guy that was like, that creepy guy that was like watching him when he was like, doing his thing. And that's what creeped me out, man. that's what creeped me out. I really can't think of much else. The only other movie that creeped me out was the Blair Witch 2.
Really?
And yeah, it was another thing where it was around the same time that Texas 2 freaked me out. I was doing that whole light a bunch of candles, Matt, watch a movie in your room. But it was Blair Witch 2 when that whole, they were driving down the road and there were the ghosts on the side of the road and everything. That movie, I'm saying too much. Guys, I'm a badass. Nothing freaks me out. Move on. I'm letting too much out. But
I'll tell you what, too. And,
it.
you know,
That's
I
it.
was a little uneasy after watching Paranormal Activity. You know, like yeah, Paranormal Activity, the first time I saw that was it kind of creeped me out a little bit. Two Boys and Their Scary Pops is saying House is one that I have enjoyed as a guilty pleasure. Dude, I used to watch House so much as a kid with William Catt and George Wendt. I would have to go back and watch it again to actually remember it as much, much about what it was about.
I watched it recently for the first time.
But we had that on a VHS tape that it used to just. I had like 3 VHS tapes that were mine as a little kid, and they, one of them had Star Wars on it, the original Superman, and House was one of the movies on those tapes. And I used to watch it all the time. But
so you got Superman, Star Wars, and House.
Yeah. We used to be able to put like 3 movies on a VHS tape, because it had like 6 hours of runtime that you could record movies. And, with my house, we just had a bunch of movies that 9 times out of 10 we recorded off of HBO or something like that. And that's how we had movies. Sure.
I love it. And yeah.
Wayne is saying I went terrible at school because I was bored and it didn't interest me, but I remember millions of movies I've seen like a genius. Go figure. I have a Clockwork Orange on Blu-ray, soundtrack, and vinyl record. It's been a while since I've seen that.
Dude, that's a movie that seriously stands on its own. I think it's amazing. I think it's super stupid before its time. That's a movie. If you want to just go in another dimension of just weird, like I think that movie's so weird to this day. No wonder I asked my buddy to turn it off and turn on Halloween. Like that movie's wild, dude. The movie's wild.
Russell is saying
You've seen it, right, Michael?
It's been years. It has been years since I've seen that movie. The nun in The Conjuring 2, when she's floating with the painting, still gets me today. Oh my, scary. Yeah, I mean that was a great scene.
Yeah. I love hearing what scares people because here I am saying everything. I'm a little schoolgirl, but like and then but I'm strange, and then there's stuff that like people would think it would freak me out, but it doesn't. But don't give me an Oompa Loompa, dude. Like, no. Like, I've always been weird that way, dude. I'm sorry, but the Wicked Witch of the West, dude, was and her flying monkeys, man. Dude, they terrified me more than I'd say almost any horror movie ever could, dude.
I say, and me, I saw The Wizard of Oz and was just like, oh, it's The Wizard of Oz. What a cool story about a scarecrow and a lion.
Isn't that strange? Like they never freaked you out.
Never, like whatsoever.
What about anything from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the original?
So Charlie and the Chocolate Factory gave me a different vibe. It gave me I wouldn't want to go there because it kind of gave me a different kind of vibe. Not necessarily a scary vibe, but more of a
those two movies.
Those are probably the types of people that my parents are telling me to avoid for other reasons.
I'd say they scared me more than
dying.
Other horror movie.
Two Boys and a Scary Pop saying The Exorcist gave us suspenseful terror and the ambiance played into our fears really well. And I'll tell you what, it does a mind job on a 6-year-old. Let me tell you,
dude. And you got to think about when The Exorcist came out. Like
I wasn't even alive when The Exorcist came out. So.
like I'm glad I did not see that, you know, when I was 5 or whatever. Dude, it would have terrified me. Like
It did, and I still don't like to watch it to this day. I watched it recently because we were talking about 70s horror movies, so I
love
owed
that
it to
you
myself
did.
to watch
I
it.
love that you did
And
that.
it's just like, I mean, I just thought it was, you know, gross. Like,
God, it's
oh, that's
so good.
nasty.
It's so good. It's so good. That's a movie that, you know, I'm very excited for the new Exorcist coming out, but I can go into that knowing that it'll never touch, you know, the original, because it's just one of those movies that will never be, you know, duplicate. Am I saying it right? Duplicated. It just won't. That movie was before its time. It had people running out of theaters choking or puking because they had never seen anything like that before. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
had never seen anything. Now we've seen it all. You know, we've seen it all. We've seen it all. And that almost kind of sucks. But we've seen it all. I don't, you know, now I just get scared by jump scares. You know,
You're more or less, yeah.
you know, I'm not actually terrified like so much by like, you know, what's going on, but they just have to have a guy pop out with like super loud music that makes my chair jump, and I jump, you know. But I'm not actually I'm not leaving.
But and you don't, you don't take that fear with you when things like that happen.
No,
you know what I mean? It's just like, oh shit, that one got me. That was good. You know,
The Exorcist. If I saw that at 5, that would have stuck with me until I was 45. Yeah.
Lydia is saying something about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 being one of the movies to scare Matt delights me. I could definitely see that. Jacob is saying, when I was on the bus, I kept looking out the window, making sure Jeepers Creepers isn't there. When I was like 9, I first saw that. Yeah, I get it, man. And it's funny.
And that's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's funny because, you know, depending on your age, there are different things that scare. Like you in Nightmare on Elm Street. You know, you were way younger than me when you saw that. By the time I saw that, you know, I was probably 8, 9 years old. So it didn't really scare me. I just thought Freddy was cool at that point. You know, I was just like, oh man, that's
like
cool.
Seeing Tina in that body bag, dude.
Yeah, and that doesn't, you know, for me, it doesn't.
And
really,
it's even more that bitch in the hallway, dude.
Yeah.
No running in the hallway with her laugh. No. No, dude.
Wayne Turner is saying, as a kid, Blue Lagoon, nakedness. Dude, I when I saw Blue Lagoon as a kid, I fell in love with Brooke Shields like you would not.
Doesn't her nose bleed a little bit when she's like saying no running in the hallway? Like,
I don't
remember. Dude, it's creepy, Michael.
Jerry Wilson is saying Brooke Shields. Yeah, see, yeah, that was, as a kid, Brooke Shields was, yes, definitely.
I'll say this. I've never been as frightened as when I watched the first Nightmare on Elm Street as when I watched Jerry twerk.
You Two Boys Very Scary Pop. Night of the Living Dead original had a number on me for many years. I remember watching Night of the Living Dead with my father.
Do you remember watching Jerry twerk for the first time?
I've never seen Jerry twerk.
God, it's frightening, dude. I'm telling you, God damn. He's good, but it's just frightening. Like, I love you, Jerry.
Night of the Living Dead for me, I don't think it scared me. And this is like the dumbest thing to say. But I think that it is the reason it didn't scare me was because it was in black and white. And for some reason, you know, I watched Psycho as a kid. It didn't really scare. I just think it had something to do with it, you know. But I remember liking Night of the Living Dead because my dad really liked it. So we watched that actually quite a few times. He definitely enjoyed that one.
I watched that for the first time like a year ago.
Night of the Living Dead?
Yeah. I thought, like, because I always loved the poster. It's like right here behind me, behind these masks. And I was like, well, if I'm going to hang the poster, I should watch it. I've just never been a big zombie guy. but I had to watch it, man. It's the first zombie movie,
Yeah.
It's
Wayne is saying not horror exactly, but Taxi Driver is quite disturbing, dude. I
is that
remember.
with De Niro?
I believe so. That movie is another movie I haven't seen in a very long time, but I remember watching it as a kid, thinking that it was, disturbing, for sure.
Okay, I'd like to
See.
watch that one. I'd like to watch that one.
Yeah, and John is saying Russell, Taxi Driver has De Niro and Jodie Foster in it. Yeah.
Only John. Only John. Dude, I go to John for all my names. Like, dude, he knows who is in what. He's a beast. That shit. I'm just like, I know this guy from that, this guy from that.
For sure. But we have been in the chat for quite a while, man. I did want to get your thoughts on where do you want to see Halloween go next? And I'm definitely curious about the chat. Like, what would you like to see them do next? Is it something that you want them to continue? Do you think that they should start over?
No.
No.
If you ask me, Halloween needs to pump the brakes. They need to pump the brakes. I refuse to go in on how much I disliked, Halloween Ends. It is what it is. David Gordon Green did his trilogy. But if you ask me, it has to go back. It has to go backwards because maybe that's just me. Like, I don't know the creativity to go forward.
So when you say backwards, what do you mean exactly?
I mean going back to maybe more of 78, maybe more of Michael back in the sanitarium. I'm talking about going back.
So like continuing again from like 78, or you thinking like
yes.
So not redoing 78, but maybe continuing from it. Is that what you're
correct?
Okay. So maybe like a redo of like Halloween 2018, something like that, like going maybe a different direction.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. To be honest with you, Michael, I wish you would have asked me this like a while back. I haven't put a whole lot of thought into it, to be honest, but I just know I think it needs to go back. I think they need to pedal backwards. There was a guy that talked to me at the booth not too long ago, and he was talking about maybe saying more about because 78 left a lot up in the air, but I don't know if I'm necessarily saying do 78 again. I'm not saying possibly like I like the idea of going. I don't even know if it's so much of say continue from 78 and act like 2 didn't happen, or just like David Gordon Green did, but a little bit, but with him younger, acting like 2 did happen, but not going so many years later. I just, what I'm saying? Like maybe like shortly after 2, the explosion at the hospital, but not so much as like 30 years later. I just don't know what route you'd go as far as if like I don't want to go into the whole like that wasn't his body being cremated. I think they need to pump the brakes and go back.
So like
I don't know, man.
If you look at like continuing from Halloween 2 and saying like 5 or 10 years after that, then that would give us Halloween 4. You know what I mean? So it is a tough question, because a lot of people, they want different things. Some people are dead set on saying, okay, well, Michael survived, Halloween Ends. No, like David Gordon Green's trilogy is over. Let's bury it. Let's do something fresh.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? 100%. I agree with that.
That's what I'm saying. I can't just act like it didn't happen. Like,
then there is the idea of continuing from Halloween 4, which I've talked about with other people and other channels, that me and you have talked about it a few times, and it's just like, that could be cool. Daniel Harris is wanting to come back. If you erase 5 and go from there, you could totally cut out the Thorn thing, because you didn't get the tattoo of the Thorn until 5. It wasn't really relevant. And you could bring Rachel back. You could pick that up
Michael,
40 years later.
Honestly, I haven't thought that much on it. My thoughts are just that, like, what you're going with, like, this is stuff I like to travel down. But I can't get on board with just like saying like that wasn't his body.
No, dude, like that's dead and buried to me. And I feel like it I would be very upset if they did that. You know what I mean? I would be very upset if they were just like, hey, he formed back up in the machine. Like, give me a break. Or that wasn't him. It's like they took his mask off. Yeah. They saw it was him, and they threw him. Because you have to remember, they had pictures of what he looked like when the bus crashed. They put it up on the news. Everybody knows what Michael's face looks like except for us, which is a good thing. So it's just like, it would be hard to replicate 78 to start over, which I do think they should do. But it makes me nervous in the fact that you're going to have to replace characters like Loomis. You know what I mean? Like, are we going to do the same thing we already did? Are we going to add, a little bit of this to it? Now, we're always going to compare the new Loomis to Donald Pleasance. We're always going to compare the shape to Nick Castle and James Hugh Courtney. We're always going to compare the Laurie Strode to Jamie Lee Curtis. Or do you just go a different route and say, yes, this is the primary story of Michael Myers, but there is no Laurie Strode. There is no Dr. Loomis. And can you make a story that way? That's another way of looking at it.
Right.
And it's just really tough to say, this is exactly what I want. And I think that my heart does lean towards continuing from Halloween 4 as a fan. But I do see why they wouldn't do it for the casual fans who make up most of the money that this movie's going to make. A lot of people that go to see these movies aren't as dedicated as we are to where we'll sit here on a Sunday night and talk about it for 2 hours. They're the type of person that's like, hey, I used to watch Halloween as a kid. There's a new Michael Myers movie coming out. Let's go check it out. Like, I thought he died in the last one. They don't understand the concept of different timelines that Halloween likes to do so much. So it may be a little confusing to them to say, it's one thing to say, hey, this movie will pick up from the original, because I feel like most people have seen the original Halloween. But when you start to say, hey, we're going to pick up from 4, it's like, which one was that again?
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it's tough, man. It's a very tough question. It's something I definitely
is, dude.
would like to open up to everyone and say, hey.
It is. I'm not the guy that's like sat here and like analyzed it over and over, but I have thought, and I'm pretty, strict with that. I think they got to go backwards, man. There's not a whole lot of, going forward with that.
Well, I mean, the only thing you can continue on from would be Halloween Ends, Halloween Resurrection, or if you're
starting with really any of it, because I don't feel like anything's gonna match up the exact way we want it to, because the timeline's just been too jacked up, and pardon my French, but David Gordon Green just fucked it up too much for us at the end. But
what if they continue Halloween Kills?
But I want my boy to live. So what I'm saying, is I want Michael back. And as long as it makes some kind of sense, I'm cool. I don't know if it can make perfect sense, man. I think we might be beyond that. You know,
Yeah.
I think we might be. I think it might be too broken. I hate to say that, but you know, as long as it can make some sense and follow one of the timelines, you know what I'm saying? Because there's a few in there, so I don't want to be too picky about that, man, because I want my boy back, and I don't know if it can be done perfect, Michael. I just don't, dude.
I think the best thing for Halloween to do is take some time off. You know, kind of let ends marinate, kind of let this trilogy marinate for a little while to where people are going to
Does
start
that
to
make
want
sense,
things again.
though? You
It
know,
does. I mean,
I don't think it's gonna come back perfect. It just
it's a tough thing. Like if that was your job and they're like, "Hey Matt, we're going to hire you. You're going to figure out what Halloween's going to do next." It's like, man, that's tough because you didn't leave me a whole lot with the last one. You know, so in that aspect, you actually left me nothing. So there is no
yeah.
real, even the idea of them saying, "Oh, what if Corey survived and now he's the new Michael?" I don't want that. You know, as a fan, I do not want anyone but Michael Myers wearing that mask.
No,
Again, that's
no,
me. You know what
no,
I mean? That's
no. That you're not alone.
there are a lot of people that wouldn't mind that, and that's fine. But if I was in charge of doing that, it's just not something that I would want. And I think it's just because I hold these characters dear to my heart, with them being the characters that I loved so much growing up as a
Well,
kid.
yeah, you're not alone. Go back to fucking Roy being Jason. Who liked that?
I had a hard time with that. You know, the rest of the movie's good. And the fact that it wasn't him, I feel like has tarnished that movie for me. I can't enjoy it as much as everyone else does. You know, it sucks for me. You know, it really does because I was you come off of 4, Friday the 13th part 4, which is one that I loved, and then 5 comes and I'm like, man, this isn't bad. Jason looks kind of funny to me. I don't really like these blue chevrons, but I can get past it. And then it's not him, and I'm just like, I feel
Yeah,
like my
it
money
fucking
was
cracked your boner in half.
it did. And
Yeah.
it just kind of always stuck with me, and it's hard for me to get over. And don't get me wrong, there are characters in that I do love, and I think that it is a decent movie, but
There are some great characters.
yeah, there are, you know,
Yeah.
fantastic characters. But
But
at the
yeah,
end of
you
the
know what I'm
day,
saying, dude?
yeah,
We want the real man. We
yeah,
want the real man.
and it's
That movie
tough to
was a
say
bomb.
I will take a copycat version because I can't have the regular
That
version,
movie
and
was a
that's
bomb. You know?
it's like when you ask for root beer and your mom brings you Dr. Pepper. You know, they're kind of similar, but it's not the freaking same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And yeah. I'm actually gonna watch probably a Jason here really soon, but yeah. I gotta get ready and jump off of here, man.
For sure.
God, this has been great, you guys.
For sure.
This has been freaking great.
I had a good time tonight. It was very nice to come on here without an agenda so much because for the past, I would say 2 months, we have just had agenda after agenda after agenda. You know, like we got interviews, we
and
got
we'll be
this,
back.
we got that, and we will. But it was nice to come on here for once and just kind of shoot the shit, you know, and to hang out with everybody and bull crap. But do have some fan films coming up soon. I was looking through some of course Friday fan films. I know you guys are going to hate me for that, but I found 2 really good ones that are continuations of each other, and I will talk a little bit about that. We'll figure out maybe when it gets closer to Halloween. I want to do a lot of like fan film stuff, you know, get us in the mood for the movies coming out. And don't forget, we have Dylan's new Nightmare at the end of this month, which I cannot wait to watch with everybody. I've been holding this in for going on 2 months, you know, about a month and a half at this point. By the time it's done, it'll be about a month and a half that I've been holding on to this stuff. Definitely look forward to that. If you are not a Patreon member and you do want to support the channel, we're having all kinds of fun over there. Please visit Patreon at www.patreon.com/moviesandbeyond, all one word. And you definitely won't be sorry. We're having some fun over there for sure.
I am a Patreon, and it is amazing. So absolutely check that out.
Yeah. And we have Horror Hound this week. So, of course, we will not, or next week. So, of course, we will not be doing a show next weekend. Next Sunday will be an off weekend for us, but we will be back the Sunday after that. We'll try to get some footage down there.
Yes. I was going to say that. Okay. Go
Of
ahead,
Horror
Michael.
Hound for sure. And I can't wait, man. I'm like I said, I'm super amped to do this. And all you people in the chat that are going to be at Horror Hound, let's hang out. Let's have a beer. Let's bullshit.
And if you don't know where to find us, Mad Matt's Masked Booth. Come freaking hang out. Please come hang out. We'll be there vending. And I love you guys. Freaking come hang out. Let's get some footage, Michael.
For sure. And speaking of fan films too, do not forget to support Brandon over at I Like Scary. He is right now crowdfunding on Indiegogo for Halloween Lives. If you are following Brandon, you have seen the posters he's been putting up. He put up a new one today that looks freaking awesome. And I cannot wait. And I definitely want to support our friend over there. He is local to all you Ohio people. So we definitely not only want to support our own, but he is a very good friend of the show. And always a supporter of Movies and Beyond. So to have someone that close to us working on things that we love, let's make sure that we go over and support him over there. Whether you're checking out Indiegogo and buying a DVD or, like a poster or something, let's try to get over to Indiegogo and support him and make sure that he's doing his thing. But Matt, it was fun tonight, brother. I had a great time. I had a great time hanging out with everyone in the chat, for sure. It was fun, man. Always a pleasure hanging out.
Absolutely. I love you guys.
All right. Well, with that being said, everybody, thanks for joining us tonight. We will definitely see you again in 2 weeks. And if you are going to Horror Hound, we will see you next weekend. Matt, I'll talk to you for just a second backstage as we get out of here. And everybody else, we'll see you next time. Peace.